Hi everyone. Right. Hi everyone. Today we're going to go over my Arena Legend tier list. So just real fast, the Arena Legend tier list is totally different than any other tier list for the BR. So if it looks different than you would think it would be for the BR, that's why it's a totally different game mode. So starting off, we have Fuse. I'm going to put him in E tier. He's basically totally useless. Starting off with his passive, I don't think it does really much at all in arenas. His tactical is still his tactical. He gets 2 now, but it's not the best. And his ultimate is still quite useless against good players. So I'm going to throw him in at E tier. Crypto. We're going D tier on Crypto. His passives are completely useless. His drone is almost useless, but it is sort of good, I guess, for information. The only thing putting him at D tier is his ultimate. That's his only thing. Most of Crypto's abilities are specifically for the BR. So let me just check if I'm recording. Yeah, I am. So yeah, most of Crypto's abilities are for the BR, aside from his drone, aside from his ultimate. Everything else is useless in arenas. Rampart, I'm putting her C tier. She does have defensive capability, so I guess for some playstyles, her walls could be effective. I think she's going to be slightly more effective in arenas than in the BR, because she can set up and hold down an area. Starting off with her passive, it's alright, I guess, if you want to run a Spitfire or Devotion. Nothing too special. Her walls, I think they're going to be solid, I hope. But like I said, any good player is just going to break down her walls. So it's not the best. Her ultimate, I'm not sure if you can buy it every round. I doubt that you can. But I think it's going to be solid for this mode. So I'm putting her in at C tier. I'd say slightly better for arenas than the BR. Caustic goes right with Rampart. I think he's going to be solid for slower playstyles. Playing the zone, holding down an area. I know his gas doesn't do a lot of damage, but I think he's still a solid pick for holding down an area. Octane, throwing him in at B tier, because maybe C tier. I think, yeah, his pad's pretty much useless if you're spending money on an ultimate on a pad. Only reason to do that is to take a position, take the strong side of the map, and arenas, typically there's a strong side and a weak side of the map, and so if you can take that strong side, I guess I'm going to talk myself into putting him in at B. If you can take the strong side of the map using his pad, then that's going to be extremely effective. Considering that you have to buy every tactical, I think his tactical is very underwhelming, but still solid. His passive, I think his passive's solid, but if it comes down to health regen, then obviously you're not going to have shields. So I think for this, like, having health regen is going to help a lot, but I think you're pretty much dead if you don't have shields anyway. Let me get a drink of water. So that's Octane. Watson, putting her in at B tier. I think she's a lot better for this mode. This mode is so based off of economy and poking. Watson's ultimate gives shield gen, obviously, as you know. I think you can buy her ultimate every round, and so just the main thing that makes her better than Rampart and Caustic is the fact that she has shield gen. I think her fences are going to be alright. Nothing too special with her fences. I hope you don't have to buy every single one. I'm assuming her alt recharges her fences in this mode. She's also getting low profile taken off this season, so that buffs her a little. but I'm putting her in a B tier specifically for the reason of shield regen. This mode is so based off economy and poking. Shields are very scarce, and I'm putting her in at B tier for economy purposes. However, I will say, if you're playing economy, Loba and Lifeline are going to be your two picks, and pretty much everything aside from defensive the defensive capabilities of Watson, Loba and Lifeline do better in terms of economy. They're just better. Moving on to Revenant, putting him in at B tier, maybe C tier. He's sort of B C tier. The reason for putting him B tier is I think his ultimate is one of the best 3-on-3 fighting abilities in this game. Obviously, especially if you pair him with Octane ultimate, and if you pair him with Valk ultimate. By the way, Valk just isn't on this list. I don't have a tier list with Valk on it, but I'll remember to talk about Valk at the end. So Revenant, if you pair him with Valk or Octane, obviously elite, but I would argue that you should just be confident in your gun skill and not use Revenant. I'm not a huge fan of Revenant. Super hard to execute consistently. But if you pair him with those two alts, Octane and Valk's ult, he's extremely good. So yeah, I'm just personally not a huge fan. And the reason why he's not higher, by the way, is because I think you can only buy his ultimate every 3 rounds. So that basically right there makes him a lot more useless, considering his passive isn't really the best for this mode, and his tactical, considering the fact that abilities play such a smaller role in this mode. It's mostly poking and economy and gun skill in this mode rather than abilities. His tactical is quite useless, so I'm actually going to throw him in at B tier or at C tier, because you can only get his ultimate every 3 rounds, I believe. So he's really only effective once every 3 rounds, and like I said, his ultimate is one of the hardest things to pull off in the game. Throwing in Horizon at B tier, we're going to have to see how big her nerfs are, how much of a difference they make. Yeah, we'll see. I think that she's still a really solid legend, a really good ultimate. I don't think she brings that much to the team, but a good Horizon player is definitely still going to be B tier. So if you're looking to carry your team, I think Horizon's still a solid choice. Definitely not the best choice now, but I think she's still going to be solid, and I think that elite players are still going to be able to do elite things on Horizon. But we'll definitely still have to see. Mirage. I heard a lot of pro players saying how nasty this character is. Just for individual play, obviously he doesn't bring that much to the team, but gold bags are very cheap. In this mode, they're only 200 points, and so he's got invisible res and his ultimate. So you pair that passive of having an invisible revive with a gold bag and his ultimate. He's sort of B tier. Can't really justify dropping him any lower than B tier, because it's extremely difficult to take down a Mirage with the current state of his ult. I can't justify putting him above B tier because he's just not the best overall. Can't justify bringing him below B tier because his ultimate is so strong. So that's where I'm throwing Mirage in. Pathfinder. I'm gonna also have to put him in B tier. I'll say just like Horizon, just like Mirage, a good player, a good Pathfinder, good Horizon, good Mirage, can definitely elevate those legends to A, maybe even S tier, especially with Pathfinder. I think he's a really solid pick for a strong Pathfinder player. His passive is it's basically useless in this mode. It's actually totally useless in this mode. His tactical is very solid. if you're good with it, if you know how to use Pathfinder, you definitely push the pace and do some pretty crazy things with its tactical. So for that reason, I need to put him in a B tier because elite Pathfinder players definitely make this guy look S tier. And lastly, his ultimate does bring a lot of value to the team because you can take the strong side of the map faster than anyone else using his ultimate. Not than anyone else, but basically equally as fast as an Octane team, and I think faster than a Valkyrie team in most cases. So for that reason, I'm going to put him in a B tier, maybe even A tier, because his ultimate is so strong for the team. Next up is Wraith. I think her passive is basically useless. Now her hitbox changes have elevated her a lot. I'm actually going to talk myself into putting Pathfinder A tier because, like I said, individually, a strong Pathfinder will make the team so much better for just individual ability, and the zipline is going to help so much. So I'm going to throw Pathfinder into A tier. Wraith. So Wraith, passive, basically useless. Tactical, I think it's solid. I think it's a lot better in this mode than it is in the BR because it's so team-based and you can really do a lot of damage and take your Q and fall back to your teammates. I think the Wraith, or the portal, is basically useless. So really, the two strong things about Wraith right now is the fact that she has no low profile and the size of her hitbox. I think she's still the smallest character in the game. So on an individual level, for a talented individual, they can definitely make this character look A, maybe even S tier. So I really want to throw her in an A tier, but she doesn't bring anything to the team. I think her portal is totally useless in arenas. Passive is totally useless. Her hitbox is sort of a passive because she's the smallest character in the game. And her tactical, so I'm gonna just say she's B tier. But like I said, an elite player is gonna make her look A, maybe even S tier. Bangalore. So Bangalore, this is a big one. I need to put Bangalore in at A tier. Why? You gotta look at the passives in this game mode. Any character with an extremely good passive is going to be huge. I think Bangalore's passive is absolutely S tier, especially for this game mode, because you don't need to buy passives. So if you look at like Bloodhound, his passive's totally useless. Loba's passive, totally useless. I'm not going to go through them all, but pretty much all these characters have basically useless passives for arenas, but not Bangalore. Her passive is very useful. So for that reason, I need to put her in an A tier. Also, her smokes, her tactical. If you look at any arena shooter, whether it's Call of Duty, CSGO, Valorant, the list goes on. Smokes are a huge deal, and I think they're going to be in this mode too for securing loot. Not as good as Loba or Lifeline for securing loot, maybe even Gibraltar, but for hitting those bins, for hitting the bins and the care packages, Bangalore smoke is going to be huge. So there's Bangalore. I think she's definitely A tier, and a good Bangalore like Shiv, just any good player is going to elevate this character to S tier. I think she's going to be extremely underrated at first, and her smokes are going to come in huge once people realize how useful that is. Bloodhound is an A or S tier character. For now, I'm going to throw him in an A. I think his passive is totally useless for this mode. His tactical is quite useful, but I think in most situations you're going to know where everyone is. His ultimate, I don't think you can buy every round, but his ultimate is one of the best ultimates for this mode. So I'm going to throw him in an S tier. I think his ultimate is just, it's insane. The fact that you can buy his ultimate, I think at least every 2 rounds, maybe every 3. pretty much turns this guy instantly into one of the best legends in the game for arenas. That's about it for Bloodhound, and like his tactical. Obviously, you're gonna know where everyone is in arenas, but the big thing that's underrated with his tactical is the fact that no one can peek you when they're scanned. So I'm gonna throw him in somewhere between A and S tier, but I gotta put him in S tier because his ultimate is just so good. It's definitely like it's gonna elevate any talented player to an S tier caliber legend. Like anyone that's talented, anyone that's skilled on this legend is just, it's gonna make him look S tier. So I gotta put him there. Loba is, for this mode, arenas without a doubt S tier. Probably the best character in the game for this mode. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Loba and Lifeline. Her passive is totally useless. Her tactical is, for this mode, it's totally useless. Her tactical is very, just wait, I got a notification. Okay. Her tactical is very strong for this mode. Definitely not the best still, but I think it's definitely up there. If you're a good player, and it's gonna coming like out like at the start of the match, you're gonna be able to take strong side of the map much faster than most legends. It's also gonna give you the ability to overextend a little. So I think elite level players are going to make your tactical look S tier for sure. But it's not the easiest thing to use in the world. And then touching on her ultimate, that's totally the reason why she's S tier and why I think she's the best legend in the game for arenas. She can take, her ultimate has no range in this mode, so she can take everything on the map, whether it's care packages, and whether it's the supply bins, all the heals in the supply bins. So I think her ultimate is only 200 points, and you can buy it every round. So that's why she's absolutely S tier. This game mode's all about economy, so that allows you on the first round to buy a cheaper weapon and her ultimate, and then you don't need to buy heals, and you can give your teammates heals. It's just so many heals for you and your team. This game mode is all about economy, like I've said so many times, and that's why she's S tier. Going to Gibraltar, his passive is, like I said, like anyone with a good passive is definitely immediately going to be up there. A lot of these passives don't matter for arenas, but Gibraltar's does. It's a gun shield. His passive is absolutely S tier, especially for this poke heavy meta. If you pair a Gibraltar and a Loba, for example, it's just going to be so strong because you're going to poke the other team to the point like the other team's going to struggle to do damage long range on a Gibraltar with his gun shield, and you can just poke the other team and completely drain their heals, and then it's just so easy from there on. So yeah, that's why Gibraltar's S tier. It's also his dome. Gold backpacks are only 200, so any character with revive, like with any additional revive ability, whether it's Gibraltar, Lifeline, or Mirage, is instantly going to be stronger because gold bags are so cheap in this mode. And then plus his dome is just one of the best tacticals in the game, so he's definitely S tier. Next is his ultimate. We haven't even talked about his ultimate, and he's already S tier. His ultimate's one of the stronger ultimates in the game. If you're a high IQ player and you use his ultimate properly, it's going to be extremely strong. So that's his ultimate. We all know about his ultimate. If you place Gibraltar ultimate well, it's extremely strong. So he's undoubtedly S tier. Next is Lifeline. Lifeline is definitely S tier because S or A tier. I'm actually going to put her A tier. I'm going to put her A tier. I think she's extremely strong. but Loba is just better for this mode. She sort of fills the same role as Loba and Gibraltar. I think Loba and Gibraltar, I think these three are must-haves, but Loba is simply better than Lifeline. So I can't really put Lifeline in at S tier. Going over the passive, I want to do sort of a direct comparison between Loba and Lifeline. I think every team is going to run one of these two characters, and you need one of these two characters for economy purposes and loot management. So starting off with Lifeline's passive, obviously a huge nerf to Lifeline's passive. She no longer gets the shield on her passive, but it's still really strong considering gold bags are so cheap in this mode. Still an extremely strong passive. Yeah, we all know about her passive. There's not much else to say. I think you can still pull off some big time plays using Lifeline's passive. Her tactical got a huge buff. If you think about it, shield battery takes about 5 seconds. And you can, while taking, let's say you get hit for 150 on purple armor, while taking a shield battery, you can pretty much fully heal your health as well. So it's sort of like a 5-second Phoenix kit. I think her tactical is definitely going to be underrated at first. They reduce the time that it deploys, and they increase the time or the rate of healing. So her tactical is extremely strong now. Next is her care package. That's the reason why she's S or A tier. If Loba wasn't so strong, I would definitely have Lifeline S tier, but Loba is simply better. So Loba and Gibraltar are just simply better. So I need to put Lifeline A tier. Moving on to her care package, you get a guaranteed gun, guaranteed blue gun, and a whole bunch of heals from it. So that's the reason why. It's just extremely strong. You can buy it every round. And I'm a huge fan of her care package. But Loba's ultimate is slightly better, in my opinion. So that's Lifeline. Why is Loba better? Because her ultimate, the main reason is because you can buy the gun that you want, rather than with Lifeline. If, let's say, you buy a secondary that's close range and then you get a shotgun out of your care package, the reason why is you can't pick the gun. So let's say you buy a shotgun and then you get a shotgun out of the care package, then you have 2 shotguns and you're totally useless at range. So, or if you buy a sniper before the round starts and then you get a sniper out of your care package, then you're totally useless close range. So, whereas Loba, you can buy the gun that you want, and then you can rely on the ultimate for the extra heals and the economy that the heals provide. Her ultimate, Loba's ultimate, is extremely cheap, and so that's my reason why for having Loba S tier. And then if you pair a Loba with a Gibraltar, I think Gibraltar is overall a lot better than Lifeline. Based off his in-game non-economy abilities. Gibraltar definitely has an economy aspect to him because his passive is so strong for economy purposes. His gun shield is definitely going to save you on a lot of shields because you can peek for free a lot of the time without burning any shields, cells, or batteries. Plus his dome is going to play a factor sometimes in getting the loot, whether it's the care packages or the loot bins on the side of the map. Plus his dome, I think, is probably overall slightly better of a reviving ability than Lifeline's passive. So those are my reasons for this sort of comparison between Lifeline, Gibraltar, and Loba. Right off the bat, I think one of the stronger lineups is going to be Bloodhound, Loba, Gibraltar, but basically anything with Loba, Gibraltar being paired together, maybe even a Lifeline, Gibraltar, and Loba, having Loba as your more aggressive player, or a Bloodhound Loba. Gibraltar having a Bloodhound as your more aggressive player. I don't know. Any of these lineups are going to work really well. And at the end of the day, I think the better players are going to win in this, but a Loba, Lifeline, Gibraltar, any of those things are going to help your team a lot. And then if you're good at the game, I'd obviously look to pick Bloodhound, sometimes Bangalore, sometimes Wraith, sometimes Pathfinder. All those legends are going to help a lot for your team. Alright, I think that's a whole tier list. Oh, I missed Valk. Valk, let's see, there's a lot to talk about with Valk. So, starting off with her, I can't put her on this list. I might edit her in after, but probably not. I'll just talk about her. And then tell you guys where I think she should be on this list. So Valk, starting off with her first passive. First passive is the ability to scan beacons. Obviously that's a very strong ability for the BR, but in this arenas mode it's completely useless. Moving on to her second passive. Her second passive is the ability to scan people like Bloodhound while in the air, flying through her ultimate. I think this is pretty much, for the most part, pretty useless. Unless you're pairing her with a Revenant, then it's extremely strong because you can single someone out. That's an extremely stupid playstyle, but if you have no confidence in your gun skill and you want to run that, then obviously that's an option, and that's an extremely strong option. Her third passive is the ability to fly. The ability to use like her floating ability or her flying ability. I think in arenas, for the most part, it's going to be useless. At a higher level of competition, you're going to get beamed a lot. For playing around buildings, it's going to be a little stronger because you can take height, you can take angles that no other legend can, or that few other legends can, and you can do things with it. It has movement potential that no other legend has, but I think at a higher level competition it's going to be fairly useless. Moving on to her tactical, from what I heard all the pros say about her tactical is that from the pros that have played the game already, her tactical is extremely weak. Not as weak as Fuse's, but from what I've heard, it's extremely slow and difficult to hit people with. Also, if you're not pairing it with her floating ability, if you're not above someone, it's extremely hard to aim. And it's very slow. It's very easy for any enemy to deal with and to get out of the way of. And so from a lot of what I heard pros say is they didn't get hit by it at all after hours of playing the game, and they barely hit anyone with it. That's what the majority of the pros said, that I heard, said about her tactical. And so, honestly, just not the strongest tactical at all, in my opinion. Very, very easy to avoid, very difficult to use. I think at a higher level of competition, it's going to be honestly next to useless. So that's her tactical. I'm not too sure why people are getting so excited about that. Yeah, moving on to her ultimate, I think if you pair it with Revenant, if you pair it with Revenant, it's going to be pretty strong. But like I said, Revenant's sort of a useless character because you can only get his ultimate only every few rounds. I think same with Valk. So her ultimate is definitely on the weaker side. So I really can't justify putting Valk, like none of her abilities are above B tier, and some of her abilities are below B tier. So I definitely can't justify putting her above B tier. So I'm gonna put her in a B tier. I think that, like I said, stronger passives are definitely going to be strong in this because you don't need to buy them. But I'm gonna put Valk in at B tier for the reasons that I listed. She just simply, none of her abilities are really above B tier for arenas. I think she's slightly stronger for the BR. Obviously, I'm going to go into why I don't think she's S tier overall. I just don't think she's S tier for the BR. I'll make a separate video on that. But those are my thoughts for arenas at least. So just like a disclaimer, I just want to say again, this was for arenas and this is pre-season 9. So all these thoughts and opinions are subject to change as we discover the arena meta. It still hasn't been released to the public, so there's a lot that's up for debate on this. So thanks everyone for watching. I think that's it. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye.